Hey guys, so I am finally getting around to recording my top 13 of 2013. I know I'm later than everyone else, but I'm fashionably late. So I'm just gonna get started so this book isn't incredibly long. I'm sure you're getting tired of watching these videos at this point. So what I did was I just went on my GoodReads and sorted by my rating, and the books that got 4 or 5 stars, I just chose from those. The first book I want to show you is Tell the Wolves I'm Home by Carol Brunt. I thought this was an excellent book. It's a coming of age, sort of contemporary. It was classified as YA on GoodReads, but I'm not too sure about that. But it's just a great story about a girl and her uncle and their relationship, and the relationship that she had with her uncle's boyfriend. It's set in the 80s, and the uncle has AIDS and he ends up dying of AIDS, which is not a spoiler or anything. But it just really takes a look at how the world was in the 80s and the fear of AIDS, and it examines that and how people kind of felt about gay people, gay men especially, in the 80s, and how there was a fear. We weren't really sure how AIDS was spread, and that was not but 30-something years ago. So we've come a long way in the world, I think, and this just kind of takes a really good look at what the world was like back then and the fear that we had, and now in just 30 short years, all the education that we have about AIDS. And the story about the uncle and the uncle's boyfriend and this girl is just beautiful and lovely, and I really recommend it. I just thought it was a great book. I also finally got to read Unwind by Neal Shusterman. This is the first Neal Shusterman book I have read, and I really enjoyed it. This book was, at first when I started reading it, I thought it was going to be just a regular dystopian kind of book. You know, there's teenagers in a dystopian world running from something to somewhere. But it's so much more than that, and I got so much more than I expected out of it. And when they described the unwind and how it happens, oh my gosh, that's what really sold me on this book. I also chose The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. I really love this book. This is the first in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. I can't wait to finish it. I actually meant to pick up a lot more of this series last year in 2013 and just never got around to it, but definitely for sure this year, and all of these books are absolutely gorgeous. Next I chose Whispering Twitches by Annadale. I got this on the clearance rack for like $1 or 25 cents or something at Half Price Books, and I thought, you know, what would it hurt? It'll be a quick read. It's a middle grade book, and it actually ended up being obviously one of my favorite ones of the year. They compared this to Harry Potter, which nothing is like Harry Potter, but if there ever was a book that came close, it would be this one. And it's a standalone, so you can read it and you have all your questions answered. I really wish this author, I don't say this a lot, but I really wish this author had made this book a series, because I think it had potential to go really great places and to be an amazing series. I really wish she had done that. So yeah, this is just a great book. If you ever happen to find it, definitely pick it up. This one should be no surprise. That's right, I chose The Diviners by Leba Bray. I had never read anything by her, and when this book came out, there was just so much hype. I ended up getting it in 2012 for Christmas and reading it in early-ish 2013. And I think it came out in 2012, maybe 11, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, I got around to reading it in 2013 and I really enjoyed it. I think the next one is coming out sometime this year, maybe. I don't really know those things. But yeah, just a great book set in New York in the 20s. I'm sure everyone knows that, but I loved it. I loved her writing style, the imagery. I loved it all. I could eat this book. Okay, the next 2 books, I don't even know how to say the author's name, so let's just move on. Next, I chose A Wrinkle in Time. I loved this book. I love this cover. I love these really old little books. I would love to find all 5 of them in this kind of cover, but you know, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, it's just a really good kind of science fiction-y tale. If you haven't read it, it's a classic. I definitely recommend you do, because it is a classic for a reason. This is probably not only one of the best books that I've read in 2013, but one of the best books that I have ever read. Oh my gosh, you guys, can we talk about Rebecca? This is a gothic tale, a gothic romance, and it's just beautiful. It's beautifully written. Again, it's a classic for a reason. Probably one of my favorite of all time books as well. This would definitely be in the top 2 or 3 of 2013, probably in the top 5 of my entire life. It's got mystery and romance and just all of that good stuff. So I really enjoyed this one. And also, if you like stories like Jane Eyre and Rebecca, The Castle of Wolfenbach by Eliza Parsons is also a really good book that is not very well known, so you might want to check that out. Okay, so next one might be a little bit of a cheat, but it's my channel. I can do that, right? I couldn't choose just one of these, so I chose the entire Infernal Devices series. I mean, really, it's a trilogy. You can't split these up. They're all amazing. Will Herondale, okay? Will Herondale. Ugh. He's so hot. So yeah, and these covers are gorgeous. I read them all this year and I just had to pick them all as a set because they are just beautifully written. I love everything about them. I love the world, I love the characters, love it. I also chose Beautiful Creatures by Kami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. Not only is the series beautiful, but so far I've only read up to Beautiful Chaos. So far the series is going wonderfully. I hope that I'm getting ready to read the last book in the series. I hope that it all ends up well for everyone. But yeah, just a great book. The Fault in Our Stars by John Green is probably one of the most touching books that I read this year. It blew me away. I was mind blown. And here's why. I had read John Green before and I like his writing. It's not like he's my favorite author, but I do really like him. I'm not a huge fan of contemporary, but there was just so much hype with this book. I was like, okay, I might as well read it. And I did, and I expected fully to be let down, and oh my gosh, I was blown away. If you haven't read it, you definitely should. It might inspire a tear or two, but they are worth it. Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rose is definitely one of my top favorite books of this year, probably in the top 2 or 3. I love medieval type-ish things, people in castles and fighting and I don't know, all of that. I love it. So yeah, I definitely recommend this book. I'm about to read the second in the series. I read this whole book in like 2 days, which was pretty fast for me. It's like 400, 500 something pages. I don't really know. But I could not put this book down. If you like George R.R. Martin and the Song of Fire and Ice series, you should definitely pick this up. This was considered the YA version of that, sort of, and it kind of lived up to that for me. 1000 White Women by Jim Fergus was a book that actually made me cry. I do not cry a lot at all, ever, but this book made me cry like a baby. You get so attached to the characters. You get so involved in the story. You feel the struggles of these women. I won't go into too much about what it's about because you can always go on GoodReads. I'll link everyone below and read what all of these books are about. But it's just such an emotional story, and the way it's written, it's so believable. It's just one of the best books ever. I mean, it's like almost life-changing, seriously. It's that good. And finally, The Kingmaker's Daughter by Philippa Gregory. I love Philippa Gregory, and this is the 3rd or 4th in the Cousins War series, I think. Let me think. The Cousins War series? I think so. I can never remember. So anyway, yeah, I love it. All of her books are kind of told the same story, just different perspectives or whatever. So yeah, this one's just really, really good. I would check out the whole series. You can read them as standalones and get away with it, but it kind of helps just to go through and read them all, you know, in order. You can look that up on GoodReads as well. So that wraps up my favorites of 2013. In 2013, I wanted to read 75 books and I met that goal. I'm not gonna do a December wrap up because I felt like I was kind of cramming the 75 books, the last couple in there. In the month of December, I ended up reading 14 books, but like, you know, 10 of them were really small books and really quick reads. So I did meet my goal of 75 books though. I read a total of 21,449 pages in 2013, which is 6,907 more than I read in 2012. The oldest book that I read this year by publication date, original publication date, was A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and I think it was like 18 something-ish, 43 maybe? I should have written that down. The newest book, or the most recently published, that I read this year was actually not that new of a book, and that was Walking Disaster by Jamie Maguire. The longest book I read this year was The Diviners by Leva Bray. 18 of my books were 400 pages or greater. 15 of my books were classics. My favorite book cover of the year was The Halloween Tree by Ray Bradbury. It's just gorgeous and cool and all things that I love about Halloween. And true story, my least favorite cover for the year 2013 in the books that I read was I'm Down by Mishna Wolf. And it was about a white girl that grew up in a black community with a strong black influence, and it was embarrassing for me to read. I was embarrassed for her at her writing, and the cover was terrible. It was like this little scrawny white girl with a big old afro, and it was just cheesy looking, and it looked just stupid, and it angered me. I wanted to hit her in the face. So I can't even find that book. That is a true story. I think it made me so angry. I think I might have I don't know where it is. I cannot find it. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed my 2013 favorite books and small statistical information at the end thing. And I will see you guys later. Bye.